Gentleman Puppy and the Bear Bunny Band. It was a lovely summer day when Gentleman Puppy was walking through the park. He always enjoyed his Saturday walks past the pine trees, the ancient and old weathered oaks, the occasional happy people that were relaxing out in the coolness of the forest. And so he was walking around with vigor in his step, where somewhere in the background he heard a certain melody, a sound, so to speak. But because it was a windy day, he couldn't really figure out where it came from. And so he thought nothing of it and walked by and kept on walking by. He sat down underneath an old oak tree and looked out over the great glass plain, and he simply laid down, and slowly his eyelids became heavier and heavier until the horizon in the far could not be seen, and he simply dreamed a deep, deep dream. He awoke happy, he awoke with the sun in his face, but Gentleman Puppy was always very perceptive about many a thing, and so he quickly realized that the sun rays in his face were not the only reason why he felt so good. It took him a couple of seconds before he realized why, for the melody it had heard the first time came back. It was a soft one that you easily get used to in the background, yet sometimes I'm reminded of again when they stop the song and play something else. So something similar must have happened, that the music was sweet and beautiful, and so Gentleman Puppy, feeling invigorated after his quick nap, quickly set about the task of trying to find out where this music was coming from. It wasn't too uncommon for a street artist to play in the park, or somebody with a loudspeaker, yet the kind of music that was being played right there was something unfamiliar to him. And something unfamiliar always speaks of mystery. And so Gentleman Puppy walked fast, and he still had trouble localizing the sound, but after a while he finally found it. And out there in a small clearing in front of a rock face, he saw a peculiar couple, a bear playing a guitar, and a small bunny singing and dancing. Gentleman Puppy simply stood there at the edge of the clearing and simply decided to listen and watch at them for a while. They were playing their asses off. The bear was raging on his guitar, not even looking at anyone or anything, with his eyes open but not seeing anything, completely being one with his instrument. It was breathtaking to see. It was beautiful. And the bunny stood on tippy toes and then leaned down, and at the top of her lungs she was singing, screaming almost. After a while, though, Gentleman Puppy realized that it was quite rude to simply observe people and not say hi. So he walked into the clearing, yet when he came closer by, he could see that something was off, something was slightly amiss. He could see that they were still very much into their music and enjoying it, yet there was a certain frantic nature about it. a certain desperation almost. And so he stopped dead in his tracks, looking at the musicians, the bear and the bunny in this new light. And he could see that they were trying so hard to do something. He didn't know what it was, but the music kept becoming better and better. It was uplifting, upsweeping, it was hypnotizing. It raged up in high waves and it rolled down. It rose high as mountains and it went down to the deepest depths. It was beautiful, yet raw. It was purely from the heart, and it was a perfect unison of two people making music. And they kept playing and playing, and Gentleman Puppy was captivated. He simply stood there in trance of the music that was going on. And then, all of a sudden, the music stopped. There was a loud pang and the strings on the bass and the guitar were broken. It was weird. All three just simply stood there stunned by the silence, and it took Gentleman Puppy seconds, minutes, maybe even hours to recompose himself. He realized it was already dark. He must have been standing there for hours. And he was full with sweat. He must have been dancing like crazy on the music. And the bear simply looked at his guitar and started crying. And the bunny fell to her knees and wept. Gentleman Puppy walked to both of them and asked them who they were, what was wrong, and how could they produce such beautiful music. They were inconsolable, and it took Gentleman Puppy the better part of an hour to finally get them to talk and to make sense. And the bunny said, "We were just jamming because we had to. It was a creature that appeared to us that wants to destroy the entire earth. But he would not do it for just one thing. He wanted to hear the best piece of music that this world has ever produced. And so we played him Brahms and Beethoven. We paid him the Beatles and everything else. And none of it was good enough. And so he gave us one final chance. You must play the best song in the world. The best song in the world that makes it so that I can find you all worthy of living on this planet." And so we did. Gentleman Puppy, of course, looked into their eyes with skepticism. And they knew what he was thinking, and they said as much. "We know it's a crazy thing. Maybe it was because we smoked some pot before, but it felt too real, and what if it was real? And if nothing else, the experience we just had was beyond compare and beautiful. Would that not be worth it by itself?" And so, when Gentleman Puppy almost felt his heart taken over, out of the blue, the rock face stepped a mysterious creature, completely composed out of blue light, and he simply said to the bear and bunny, "You came close, but you have lost." They simply stood on in stupor as the Gentleman Puppy, yet out of a wellness of courage that he never knew, he simply stood violently to the creature and said, "We are not done yet." And so he told the bear to restring his guitar. He told the bunny to drink and get her voice ready. And he told them, I will join you. And with the three of us, we can do this. The bear tuned his guitar, was done. Gentleman Puppy took out his harmonica, tried a couple of things with his low voice, and the bunny was ready. They simply looked at the creature, and the bear slowly started his guitar. Slowly at first, and bunny slowly joined in with her voice, slow whisper, gentle caress of the wind. And as if it was magic, Gentleman Puppy was hypnotized, and he knew exactly when to start. He gave a beautiful counterpart with his bassy voice to the bunny, and their voices intermingled, and they wove, and they dove, and they walked, and they danced over the strings of the guitar, the melody that kept flowing out, the rhythm and everything. And slowly they built to a crescendo, up and down and more up. And at that point, Gentleman Puppy took out his harmonica and played over the vocals of Bunny, and they started stomping their feet to make a percussion on it, clapping on the guitar, and it suddenly appeared like another drummer was there. Yet there wasn't. There was only the bear, the bunny, and Gentleman Puppy. Yet for never in his life, and probably never more that he would ever experience, he felt one with other creatures. Their music flowed out of their heart, out of the desperation to save the world at first, yet eventually it simply transformed into the beauty of belonging, of caring, of life and love. And so they played and they played and they played, and until they could no more, until their bodies simply gave way and they fell down. Gentleman Puppy could only look up to the sky and saw the creature weeping, and said, "This is enough. You are worthy." And without a further word, he simply disappeared into the void. And they simply all lay there. And so it was that day it ended. None of them knowing for sure if what they had experienced was real or not, but knowing that for some glorious time, however long it may have been, they made the best song in the world. And every now and then, you can still hear the bear and the bunny reminiscing about the best song they ever played. And it starts a little bit like this.
This is the greatest and best song in the world. Tribute.
And when Gentleman Puppy heard this song, he knew that was the day they were singing about, and his heart filled with joy.
All of a sudden, there shined a shining demon.
And that song is now known as the tribute of the best song in the world. And without further ado, my dearest Nina, I wish you the sweetest dreams of all. I love you.